I was trying to think of what on earth Hexatombe is gonna be, because it seems like something that has happened previously in history, so it can't be like earth-shattering, destroying.
We don't know.
And true, Earth could have been destroyed a couple of times. Who knows? It's Ordem. We have these like the first song of Siguilera, which by the way I think is really cool. It seems like the lyrics or the songs from Siguilera are kind of like a soundtrack to the events of what's happening in the season. So this one, Brutal, is kind of foreshadowing what the ritual is. They're talking about eternal prestige, taking all you can have, and like flying above, rising above your station, that type of thing. So I was wondering if maybe it could be a way of forcing a O Diabo reset, because we know that the wielder of the Sengi relic has to be chosen through like who is worthy. So this could be like a game set up to be like, we're gonna find the worthy ones. And also we were told that not everyone would be allowed to go through this portal. You would have to already prove that you're worthy enough to even participate. So that's why I'm like, oh, could this be playing into the whole, like it's literally Hunger Games to figure out who's gonna be the next. Giovanni said that those who will witness the crown of thorns. I've seen other people say that maybe that could be the physical relic. Obviously, this means that Henri is kind of and he is in a weird spot, and I don't really know what to do about that, other than if maybe he appears and has to defend his claim as part of like he's had to put together a group to defend him and defend his claim. Maybe.
Mas parado no centro da sala, em cima de símbolo vermelho de ritual, é uma pessoa encapuzada, as costas abertas com uma ferida no formato do estigma da coroa de espinhos. É o sacrifício de vocês. E agora eu vou pedir pro Bastê entrar no estúdio, por favor, e descrever o personagem dele pra mim.
Olha que ele tava escondido!
Meu personagem, bom, o Henri, ele tem um cabelo longo, castanho, com uma franja bem longa, assim, de um lado. O cabelo bem raspado atrás, assim, bem raspadinho, bonitinho. E você vê muitas marcas de sangue, muitos cortes, ele tá todo dilacerado, com correntes e toda uma roupa bem... não muito fashion, assim, mas tá lindo, meu menino tá lindo.
It could also just be like a classic, like, oh, this is a fun game O Diabo has made to find out, like, to have people ask for a pact, ask for a wish, so to speak. Yeah. And he's just like, let's just make a little fun. Oh, there is a tiny Ghostbuster on. That's a little Pac-Man.
Yeah. It's
nice.
cute.
Good. Well, only the bad ghost. We like the good ghosts here. But it could also be I'm gonna find the worthy successor, or my wielder, Barra, is gonna have to prove that they are worthy to keep the power I've bestowed upon them. As you can see, I also had key impact. This is just, you're doing that very well. This is basically from the visual, there's some visual thematics that are appearing. Now, obviously, the thematics of the golden chains are also just a conocimiento thing. So it doesn't have to be linked. I'm just mentioning it as something that's popped into my mind in case it turns into something. Because when I first saw this coffin, I thought of the last time we saw Kian, which was wrapped up in these chains and a box wrapped up in chains. And also, we saw O Diabo appear offering a pact. And then,
speaking of the Diabo, that symbol on the Transtornados is the pact of the Diabo, of the devil.
Yes.
They even offered a pact already.
I really, really love that you said that, because what I was gonna tie that with as well is the whole thing of Giovanni, obviously a throwback to Iniciação. We know him as the guy who made the Sangi bunker underneath the school, which was then used by Alvarez in part of Disconjuração to do the whole ritual bringing Kian about. So we already have some potential link between Giovanni and the people he working with, having collaborated with at least Scriptas, and working with Kian. So I was wondering if there was somehow a link between the pact that Kian made with O Diabo, which I'm thinking off the top of my head would be something like becoming like the one true relic entity thing of conocimiento, because right now we kind of, as far as I've understood, we have two things. We have As Máscaras and like the conocimiento entity, and then we have Kian, which is also kind of, because he has all of the knowledge of the other side and is threatening and overruling the rules that conocimiento As Máscaras Magistrada is setting up. And Anfitrião, when they were having that whole discussion in Calamidade, was afraid of what would happen if he managed to stay with power and kind of could rewrite things, and in general wanted Conhecimento to no longer be in controls of the chains. As far, just like brief. And if O Diabo... I
just want to say that Jenna has corrected me. The rulebook does not fully state that they have had it back to the devil. It says a lot of them have had one, but some of them are still looking to have one.
Okay, cool. It still fits. So I was wondering if the O Diabo Pact was to be, I'm gonna help put you in a stronger position that you want, and then in Sangi O Diabo's mind being like, I'm gonna find a way to twist this pact in a way where actually I gain the control and I take out two enemies at one way, basically just annihilating both. Exactly the ideas of how that would happen, well, I don't know, and then also because Henri, of course, used to be Scripta working with Kian, seemed to go his own way, found O Diabo, became the bearer, but then came back to the pact. And I've had the idea that Kian wanted people, his Scriptas, put in charge of the different relics for a while. We saw that, he did have a with what's her name? The one with the Morchi, with the not with the fan, Morchi. Nubi, yes. Where it was mentioned that Nubi and her Lucidius. So she kind of, was Scripta, but also Morche, and had at least some form of Lucidio occultists listening to her, was a leader of that. So it could be that Henri was still kind of part of whatever big Calamidade plan that was, or Giovanni could be the one that would take that spot of like, oh, we have Giovanni on our side and his Trastornados. So we have one in each area. Because also, one of what I was saying before with the songs, Hisada Hobachiko, feels like we're definitely gonna meet somebody who's very Energia themed. I don't know if Anfitrião visit, because he was buddy with O Diabo, or if it's just gonna be like a cult that has that theme. Then I wanted to add on some of the stuff that we spoke about in the Discord afterwards. Because I quite liked the idea that you and Gianna brought up of like all 6 sacrifices being porters, wielders, bearers, whatever is the correct English word, of the relic or previous versions of it. And this idea of like having possessed either as a trial for different people to see like who could be worthy to be the main wielder, or for more reasons of maybe O Diabo couldn't stay with them. I thought that was really interesting, and I like that idea, especially because we obviously we have these these red footprints that kind of led them to the sacrifice in Henri in the third episode. And I would love it if we could get confirmation. I don't think we will, but like if it comes up, if these footsteps appeared for the other wielders, or not wielders, the other sacrifices as well. Because, you know, on one hand, it could be a mechanic of like leading them to their sacrifice, so it was easy to find them. On the other hand, it could be because, you know, it was linked to the bloody footsteps of O Diabo, or potentially just because Henri was the last known wielder right up until that moment. But either way, I think it would be interesting to know if that continued. I was thinking more about this, and we've been getting things that are leading us back to episode 0 of Calamidade. And one thing that has bugged me about that is the pact that was supposedly made with the team about those who kill my son will be rewarded. Now, at the time, and this could very well still be the case, but at the time I was excusing like filio as in like, oh, it's because there's this whole theme about heirs in and kind of like bloodline ties, whatever, in the wording and the language you use for O Diabo. And that the creature that they killed was linked to a child, and it's a blood creature, so it's like, oh, it's one of the many children of O Diabo, just like we are all children of God, you know, like kind of religious speak. What I was wondering was if that whole thing of familiar ties is taken one step further with O Diabo in terms of what is required to be a wielder of the relic. And if everybody who could potentially be a wielder has to be related in blood to a previous wielder or O Diabo. Because it's like almost confirmed now that Henri is the child that we learned about in that episode, who was probably the child that Elsa had with the previous relic wielder, O Diabo. Either those who kill my sons will be rewarded was also foreshadowing to what happens now with whole like you get your wish rewarded, and potentially if all the sacrifices are kids of O Diabo, you will get rewarded for killing them. Or if there's a mechanic of like what is nerfing O Diabo is also not being able to kill his own children, because obviously this whole pact thing could just have been a test of the team to see if they were able to take on this needy child monster. But usually if there's a pact, you get something both ways, and I was wondering like, why would he need that? Was it just to get them involved, or was there actually a need to kill this, and Dennis, who was turned into this monster, is also somehow blood related to O Diabo through a previous wielder?
Yeah, I think with the needy one, or Carente,
yes,
it's basically confirmed by Calamidade episode 0 that he is the son of Elsa, and maybe they even like a stillborn son that Elsa made a pact to bring back to life. Maybe that's how all the heirs of the devil happen.
Oh, because I thought Carente, this particular one was linked to Dennis Batista, the one that
because he was taken away, and I think he was renamed as Dennis Batista, like he was reborn as Dennis Batista.
Oh, but then
because Elsa didn't take care of him.
Who is Henri then?
I think Henri is another Dennis Batista-like person. I think all of the heirs of the devil might be, according to the theory, which I think might be actually correct, they are all stillborn children that the mothers ended up making a pact with the devil to revive. Oh. But they don't get access to the baby after they're revived either.
Interesting.
That's like the price they pay.
Because I was going down with the like collective idea that I've seen surfacing, and also you guys told me about when I watched Calamidade, about Inhi being the child we hear about in episode 0. That was like,
yeah, but that doesn't make sense when we think about that paper, because like those that kill my child will be compensated. So like
exactly.
Dennis has to be the devil's child. So Dennis has to be,
yes.
And the devil was bringing Dennis over to knock on the door of Elsa and being like, "Mommy." So like that was torment for Elsa. So Elsa could never meet with Dennis. That was the pact that she made, I think.
I actually fully agree. I was just really trying to make Inhi being that child fit, because it, you know, with the references that was happening in the last episode, and then everybody was like, "Oh, so it's basically confirmed," but like they're and it might still be, but like it didn't make sense to me. So I'm glad I'm glad you agree.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's the case. I think it's a similar situation. It's a stillborn child that was forcibly taken away from his mother because of that situation, and that's how Annie ended up appearing in the orphanage.
Yeah.
Thinking of Dennis. Dennis was killed by the Escritas, right?
Yes.
Dennis met with his mother, and then that activated like the "I'm not human anymore" sequence, which turned him into the needy one. And then the agents had to deal with him. But Dennis also became that creature because of Dunchi and the whole ritual with So there's like I think Dunchi kind of like malformed Dennis. Dennis was a child, but he was a child that was already half of a monster, and that's why he became a monster in that ritual. Like he didn't fully work as a source of fear because he was already touched by the other side.
That would make sense, like why a monster like that was created, because, you know, there's been a lot of rituals that have had people involved where they didn't turn into like their own monster without there being like special circumstances. So whether they are all marked, it would be really interesting if they are, because it would remove what I think is the presumed necessity of a marked character having a player attached to them.
You asked me to repeat that with the subtitle. So what I said is that whole theory about all the sacrifices being the devil's kids, the devil's children, the heirs are devil's children. That is very Hollow Knight. The whole idea of children having to fight each other to try to achieve a goal, to be the one true, in the case of Hollow Knight, the one true Hollow Knight is very Hollow Knight. You know, it's very, very much in what that game does.
And I really like that because, one, I haven't played Hollow Knight, so I couldn't make that connection. But two, just because anytime something connects to, like a theory connects to thematics or something that we know Selbit likes, I'm like, maybe it is something he's, you know, like borrowed some thematics from there. But yeah, I just also feel like in terms of like leaning into like the religious aspect of O Diabo, it would be very fitting if there was like what I kind of consider a bloodline nerf, or like some kind of special circumstances around the children of O Diabo, considering like God and his son Jesus. You know, it's like it's a nice parallel even within the religious thematics.
Yeah.
I
have one more thought. I'll let you speak after this one.
Go for it.
Do you think the devil has ever existed in the Ordem universe, or do you think the Hexatombes are trying to reach one person to be the devil, and that has never happened yet?
I'm gonna need you to elaborate on what you mean by has ever existed. Like
the devil can sometimes take hold of the body of one of its heirs.
Yes.
But I think there's a chance that the devil has never fully incorporated itself with one of the heirs. The devil has never fully manifested itself in existence ever, because the Hexatombe has never succeeded.
So kind of like what Gianno was saying here, like the rulebook describes the devil as someone who is never controlled, which could mean both that no one ever managed to rule above him, or that no one fully wielded him.
Fully wielded him, exactly.
There's never been like
him ever
a one true wielder who's fully merged with him and got access to all the powers.
Yep, I think that might be the case.
I like that. I don't know if I'm ready to say that it's never happened, but I definitely think it's a rare occurrence, and it's the point of Hexatombe, of like
the whole
like,
Seraphim Vermelho,
yeah,
even like apocalypse in the Bible. You know, there's like the
Yeah.
apocalypse will come back when Jesus comes back.
yes,
Like the devil is
actually,
coming back, kind of thing.
that would be a cool ties to Seraphim Vermelho if that has been
Yeah.
like the only other time in history that a true wielder has existed, and that's why it's the whole like you will come back.
Yeah, true.
It's the second coming of Jesus, but instead of Jesus, it's the devil.